Welcome to the 6th tutorial on Unity and C# games programming. This tutorial we're going to look a little bit more at functions and parameters, and we're going to use it to update our game score. We're also going to look a bit more at conditionals, like I've mentioned it a bit before and you may already understand it. It's quite simple. I'm going to add another text object to my game so that we can update that with a message when the score gets to a certain level. And just helping you practice some concepts of coding. So let's get started. The first thing we need to do is we need to update this score text in game. So if you've done the previous tutorials, like the first one, I think, we had a score text in the top left hand corner and we updated it. It was either the first or the second tutorial, I'm not sure. So if you want to add a parameter, it's exactly the same as defining a variable. You write the type, so we want to create an integer parameter, and then you give it a name. So we're going to call this updated score. And we also want to create another parameter. So you can have many parameters, and all parameters go between the curved brackets. So you have you write void, and then you have your function name, and then you have opening and closing brackets, curved brackets, and then you put all your parameters in here. So we want two parameters, so we separate parameters out with a comma, and the next parameter is going to be a message, and the message is going to be a string, so we write string, and then we write the parameter name for the string, message. And then what we want to do, instead of drawing the score onto the screen, we want to draw the updated score. So the purpose of parameters is to pass in a value that we want to use inside of our function, and we're going to use this updated score integer inside of our function to show the updated score. The next thing we need to do is call this from somewhere, and I think the best place to call this from is from our for loop in spawn sprites. So I'm just going to write the name of the function, update score text in game. There, the computer comes up with it. I double click on that. And now you can see if I write an open bracket, this it will show me the. I'll just delete that again. If I write an open bracket, it will show me the definition of the function we've just defined, and that means I know what parameters I need to pass it. So first, I'm going to pass it a score, and we're going to pass it the score plus plus. So on every loop, we're going to add 1 to the score. So every single sprite that's drawn onto the screen, we're going to increment it by 1. And then we're going to pass a message, and the message is going to congratulate the user. Congratulations, you have a top score. And then, of course, you end the line with a semicolon. One more thing, you want to initialize the score at 0. We don't want to start at 10. So I'm going to delete that here, but in my start function, so at the start of our game, of every game, we're going to initialize the score to be 0 there. The start function is a great place to initialize variables that persist throughout the life cycle of the game, and you want to set them as nil or something. So we're back in our game, and if I press space now, you'll see the score in the top left hand corner increasing. That's basically counting the number of objects that we're generating onto the screen. So back in our game world, I'm going to add a new text object, UI text, and I'm going to place this text, I'm going to call it in-game message. I'm going to click on the rect transform, and I'm going to place it in the middle, and I'm going to make the text 50, and I'm going to make it the color white like this, and then I'm going to just zoom out just to check it, or double click on it, make sure the text box is big enough, and for now I'm going to hide it. You see, if I untick it here, that hides the that hides the actual message, and I only want this message to appear when we get over a certain score. Then if I go back to Unity and I click on the game handler, I'll be able to see this variable here, and I'm going to drag this in-game message onto here like that. And then if I go back to here, I'm going to go back down to my update score function. And after we've updated the score, I'm going to create an if statement. And in this if statement, I'm going to check to see if the update score is greater than 100. And if it is, I'll show the message. If it isn't, I won't. So to write an if statement, as you might have seen before, you write the keyword if, and then you have opening and closing brackets, and then inside of the brackets you write a condition. And the condition will be updated score. Is that less than, sorry, is that greater, is that equal to, let's say equal to 100. If that is equal to 100, then I want to show the message. So we write in-game message, in-game message. We set the text and we set it to the message. Now, at the moment, this in-game message is hidden, so there should be a property that belongs to this in-game message. So maybe if I use enable and I set that to true. Now if I go back to my game, now I'm going to keep pressing space until I get to 100. There we go. Our message appeared when we got to 100.